हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गायै नमः। ओम राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरं वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगता अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय 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 Om Namah Shivaya. Namah Parvati Pataye. Har Har Mahadeva. Hari Om, Hari Om. So we have seen the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, and in these first 6 chapters the main attention is on recognizing our own real self. At a very superficial level, when we look at ourself, we think that we are the gross physical body. But if we think a little bit more, then we will understand that this gross body is also controlled and guided by something subtler than this gross body, which is there within this body. That is our Sukshma Sharir. The Sukshma Sharir guides the physical body. The pranas, the Panchakarmendriyas, Jnanendriyas, the Manabuddhi, Chitta, Hankar, all of them, they guide our physical body. But if we go deeper within ourselves, we will come to know that I exist even when I am separated from my gross body and the subtle body. That is in deep sleep. So what I am in my deep sleep is that real I, the self, that Atma. What I am in my deep sleep, free from any connection with my gross body and the subtle body, is that real I, which is present even in the waking and dream, and it is the Sakshi of my gross body, subtle body. So that Atma have to be recognized in our meditation. That is what Bhagavan says, कि शनै शनैरुपरमेद बुद्ध्या धृति गृहीतया आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किंचित अपि चिन्तयेत्. That you place your mind, your attention in that Atma, and thereafter don't think of anything else. Just gain that abidance in your own Atma. And that Atma is Brahma. That Atma is that Supreme Brahma. So when a person gains that abidance in that Atma and comes to recognize himself as that Brahma, when he looks at this world, he comes to know that he himself is present in all beings and all beings are in his own self. He gains that Sarvatma Bhav, that he himself is present in all and everything is in him. Now that Sarvatma Bhav one has to gain. Then only our realization is complete. We have to understand that I myself am present in all and everything is in me. To make us understand this, we have to comprehend Ishvara properly. So in this 7th chapter onwards, Bhagavan is revealing his identity. If we contemplate and comprehend Ishvara, we will be able to understand our oneness with Ishvara. So Ishvara is the very source of this entire creation. That Brahma, indicated in our scripture as the one supreme reality, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. That Brahma, as the cause of this world, as the master of this world, is called Ishvara. So Ishvara has got these two prakritis, the para and the apara prakriti. This para apara prakriti are also called Maya. So Ishvara has got this para apara prakriti, and through this apara and para prakriti, Ishvara alone manifest as this world with all the beings. So this manifestation is at two levels. One is at the subtler level and another at the gross level. So first Ishvara manifests at the subtler level as Hiranyagarbha, and then as at gross physical level as Vaishvanara. So from that Ishvara alone, through his Prakriti, spontaneously that manifestation of Hiranyagarbha happens. Swayambhu Hiranyagarbha, who has the Samashti Mana, Samashti Buddhi, Samashti Ahankar, Samashti means total, and the Pancha Tanmatras. But he is at the subtle level, not gross. So Hiranyagarbha contemplates, meditates, and gives birth to Vaishvanara. The physical, gross, 5 elements are born, and Vaishvanara is born. Then Vaishvanara alone manifests all the Devatas, manifest all the Vanaspatis and all other beings, including human beings. So when Vaishvanara looks at this world, he looks at this world as his own self. Everything is himself. He looks at all the beings, all the Devatas, all the beings. He knows that the self in them is my own self. I myself am present in all, and everything exists in me. When Hiranyagarbha looks at everything, he knows this Vaishvanara exists in me, in my own mind. And when Ishvara looks, Ishvara knows that Vaishvanara as well as Hiranyagarbha is in me. So we have to gain this vision of Ishvara. First we have to understand and gain the vision of Vaishvanara, then Hiranyagarbha, then Ishvara. If we understand this, if we comprehend this, then our understanding of the Shastras will be complete. Then alone we will understand when the scripture says Tattvamasi, when the scripture says Ayam Atma Brahma, when the Upanishad says Aham Brahmasmi, that statement will be understood not only theoretically but actually. So, through meditation in the first 6 chapters, once we recognize ourselves as that Atma which is present free from the Sthula and Sukshma Sharir. That Atma we have to recognize, and then we should know that same Atma is that Brahma. So now Ishvara revealed his twofold Prakriti, the Apara and Para Prakriti, and he also said that this twofold Prakriti are the yoni, the very source of entire creation. There is nothing outside this. Etad yonini bhutani sarvani iti upadharaya aham krishnasya jagatah prabhava pralayasthatha. I myself am the creator of this world and everything merges back into me. Matta parataram nanyat kinchid asti dhananjaya. There is nothing other than me. There is no one other than me. There is nothing greater than me. There is nothing lesser than me. There is no other cause than me. Everything is myself. Everything is strung in me, like in a mala, how different flowers are strung in one thread. Similarly, everything is strung in me. The entire creation is present in me. Now let us do a little bit of contemplation of identifying with this totality. See, when I look at my own physical body, and when I look at this world in my waking state, I identify with this physical body and I say, I am a man or I am a woman, I am walking, I am talking. So I identify with all the activities of the physical body, and I think that I am the doer of all these actions. That is the general misunderstanding which we have, or understanding which we have at this level. We feel strongly that I am the doer of all the activities of this body. Though we have seen, Bhagavan has said, everything happens in Prakriti. Prakriting kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimodhatma karta ahamiti manyate. But I feel I am doing. So if you analyze these actions which are happening in our body and try to understand who exactly is doing, there is no doubt that action is happening. But am I really the doer of this action? Let us try to think from a different standpoint. Let us say you are walking. So you say, I am walking. So what are the various things involved in walking? A lot of things are involved. You have to activate the pranas, activate your senses. You have to activate and coordinate the activities of the karmendriyas. So many things are involved in a simple action of walking. So am I doing all this really? Or I am just claiming that I am doing it? Let us take some other example of another action we do of eating. We have a laddu in front of us and we eat. So that eating involves again lot of coordination. It's not a very easy action, though we easily eat laddu, but it is not a very easy action. Lot of coordination is required. The hand should pick up the laddu properly at the right angle and take it towards our mouth. Should not take it towards the nose. We should bite it properly, swallow it, then it goes within. Then I have to activate all the functions of the body, the total digestive system. It passes through the small intestine, large intestine, all those things. Lot of juices are secreted to digest that. Who is doing it? Who is doing all these actions? I say I am doing, I am eating and I am digesting. But do you know what are the different things happening in your body? I don't know. But still I claim that I am doing. The Shastras say that Vaishvanara is doing. Your food which you are eating, it is digested by Vaishvanara. Not only your actions in your body, but all the activities which are happening in the entire world, entire physical world, which we experience in our waking state, all these activities are happening, done by done by Vaishvanara. Vaishva means universal. Nara means person. So universal person. The universal person really is doing all the activities. He is responsible for all the activities happening in the waking world. Just like when we look at the ocean, we see the waves rising and falling down. If you look at that individual wave, it appears as though the individual wave is rising and falling. It is making the waves rise and fall. But really speaking, it is the entire ocean which is making one individual wave rise and fall. Even if you look at our own body, each cell and each organ may feel that they are doing something, but it is that one universal person within this body which is coordinating all these activities. So Vaishvanara is the one who is doing all these activities in the waking, and he is the one who is the self of all, and everything exists in him. So what we have understood as the Sarvatma Bhav, that Sarvatma Bhav we can understand in our waking if we identify with Vaishvanara. Because the whole world is his own self, his own body. He himself is the very self of all beings, and everything exists in him. Then we go to sleep, we dream. When we are dreaming, we are totally cut off from our physical body and this physical world. When we are dreaming, only our Antakarana is active there, but we are totally cut off from the physical body and the physical world. So the dream is a different world altogether, a subtler world altogether. So who is controlling and guiding that subtler world? Who is helping in creating the dream world? Who is the one who is controlling the activities of our mind, our intellect, our ego, our chitta? Who is the supreme boss of our dream world? Not only our dream world, but the entire dream world. That supreme boss is Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is the Atma of all the beings at the subtler level, who is controlling the thoughts and vision of everyone. See, when we chant that Gayatri mantra, we are praying to Hiranyagarbha to illumine my buddhi so that I can understand the scriptures. Gayatri mantra, very powerful mantra. It is chanted to prepare us to understand the Shastras. Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Tassaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. So there we are praying to that Hiranyagarbha that please illumine our intellect so that we can comprehend what the scriptures are saying. He is the boss. He is our own self, not only our self but the self of the entire creation, because Hiranyagarbha is the self of Vaishvanara. Self of Vaishvanara means the self of all the beings. So Hiranyagarbha is the boss, is the master of our subtler world. So when we identify with Hiranyagarbha, we will gain that Sarvatma Bhav at a deeper level. But Hiranyagarbha himself is guided and controlled by Ishvara. The Atma of Hiranyagarbha is Ishvara. When we go to sleep, deep sleep, we become one with Ishvara. There is no there is no awareness of the physical world. There is no awareness of the subtler world. Only I remain as Ishvara in my deep sleep. All the beings, when they sleep, they become one with Ishvara. When the entire creation sleeps during Pralaya, it is like sleeping in the lap of Ishvara. So when the entire creation sleeps, only Ishvara alone remains. I remain as Ishvara. So the Atma of Hiranyagarbha is Ishvara. Atma of Vaishvanara is Hiranyagarbha. Atma of all the beings in the waking world is that Vaishvanara. So when we identify and understand our relationship with Vaishvanara, Hiranyagarbha, Ishvara, we will gain that Sarvatma Bhav. So when we look at this world, don't look at this world as just a physical, materialistic world, but this world is the body of Vaishvanara. But Vaishvanara, if we look deeper, what is controlling this world? The intelligence is controlling this world, guiding this world. That intelligence is guided and controlled by Hiranyagarbha. But what is the very source of this intelligence? That is Ishvara. And who is Ishvara? Ishvara is that Brahma. So I am that Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi. So this is the vision which we have to gain. So this is being revealed in this Bhagavad Gita. So one should take it very sincerely, seriously, and try to comprehend it in a grand, deeper way. So here Bhagwan revealed in these shlokas, we have seen the apara and para prakriti. And Bhagwan says, through this apara, para prakriti only, I manifest as this world. So don't look at this world as something different. Look at this world as Ishvara only, who is expressing in front of us in this form of this world. Bhagwan says, there is nothing other than me. मैं ही मैं हूँ सब जगह. Everywhere it is myself. But what is required is we have to gain the vision of seeing. See again that example Bhagwan has given of that mala with the thread. So if you just look at that garland, you will see different flowers. But if you just try to separate these flowers and see what is connecting two flowers, you will see the thread. Similarly, when you look at this world, you see only the outer names and forms. But if you go dive deeper in this world, you will see the presence of Ishvara. So how can I see Ishvara? मुझे वो दिव्य दृष्टि दे दो भगवान. In the 11th chapter also, Arjuna requested Bhagwan कि I want to see how this whole world is existing in you. Please show me. Bhagwan says, you can't see it with your physical eyes. I will give you this divine vision. Divya Chakshuhu. Then you can see. Similarly here, if we want to see the presence of Ishvara in all the things of this world, we should have the divine Chakshu. That divine vision, that miraculous, wonderful vision, Bhagwan is giving us in the following verses. Please listen to these verses very attentively. Here Bhagwan is showing us how to look. See, yesterday I gave the example of the game of hide and seek. Ishvara is hiding and we have to seek him. I said that little child is looking for his mother. The child goes looking for the mother everywhere. The mother is hiding behind the curtain. The curtain is little ugly only. So the child never pays attention to that curtain, thinking that how can my mother be in this curtain? And he looks everywhere, everywhere. कहाँ है मेरी माँ? Then mother realizing that my child is looking for me, he is not interested in anything. So she makes a sound from behind the curtain. And the child hears that sound. And he recognizes that sound as his mother's voice. When he looks at the curtain, he can see with his physical eyes, he can see the curtain. But when he hears the sound, he knows that behind this curtain is my mother. Then, giving up attention from everything else, he approaches that curtain and removes that curtain, and there he sees his mother. Similarly, this whole world is like a curtain, and Bhagwan is hidden behind this curtain. Don't shift your attention away from the world, but you penetrate inside the world. The idea is not to look somewhere else, but look at the world only at a deeper level. उसी को गहराई से देखो. If we discard the world, this world is mithya and I will not look at the world, then you will discard Bhagwan also. No doubt, Bhagwan is not in the names and forms, means he is hiding behind the names and forms. So we have to penetrate inside and look at that Ishvara who is hiding behind this world. छिपे कहाँ भगवान करो मत देरी. So Bhagwan is hiding, and when we sincerely look for him, he will reveal himself. In Narad Bhakti Sutra, Narad ji says, Sakirtyamanaha avirbhavati anubhavayati cha bhaktam. When we do kirtan, when we call Bhagwan sincerely, then he reveals himself, he becomes pragat and gives his what you call experience to us. हरि व्यापक सर्वत्र समाना प्रेम ते प्रगट होई मैं जाना. भगवान सब जगह समान रूप से है. जब हमारे हृदय में भगवान के प्रति प्यार प्रेम उत्पन्न होता है तो हम भगवान को देख पाते हैं. सो वी हैव टू डेवलप दैट लव, द विजन ऑफ लव एंड विजडम. Not only love, not only wisdom, but vision of love and wisdom, and we will be able to see the presence of Ishvara in everything. So if you are ready, then let us take this Ashirvad from Ishvara and try to see him in this world. So he says in the next verse, verse number 8, रसोऽहमप्सु कौन्तेय प्रभास्मि शशिसूर्ययोः प्रणवः सर्ववेदेषु शब्दखे पौरुषं नृषु. भगवान सेज कि हे अर्जुन, रसो अहम अप्सु, that I am there in water. I am there in water. If you look at the water, I am there in water. But look closely, I am in water as the rasa, as the taste. See, we experience water with our tongue. The what you call the quality of water, the characteristic of water by itself is taste. You may say, no, I can see water, I can hear water. These are not exactly the characteristic of water. As I said yesterday also, that this gross physical water which we see, it has got Akash also in it. It has got Vayu also in it. It has got Agni also in it. And it has this water. So if you hear something, hear water, you are hearing the Akash. If you touch water, you are touching the Vayu. If you are seeing water, you are seeing the Agni Tattva. The real essence of water is the taste. See, this world which we experience, the Pancha Mahabhut, this Pancha Mahabhautik world is experienced through our senses. So what is experienced through our senses itself is this world. See, the vision which is given in our scriptures is different from the way we materialistically we look at the world. Like I gave the example of water itself, that it is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. So scientists may look at it as hydrogen, oxygen, and the chemical property and physical properties and all. But subjectively, how do I experience the water? I experience water through my tongue. Hydrogen, oxygen, and all are theories for me, but I experience water through my tongue. So that taste, that experience which I get through my tongue, that is the essence of water. That taste itself is expressing as the liquid which we see as water. The very essential nature of water is that taste, rasa. If you remove that rasa, then that water is not water. Water is water because of that rasa. Now again, very interesting. This rasa is the very nature of water. Why it is like that? Because it is like that. We can't ask why about a nature. Like for example, sugar. When you taste sugar, sugar is sweet. Why sugar is sweet? If somebody asks, then we say, oh, it is the nature of sugar to be sweet. But that nature, what we are talking about, sugar or any other thing, that nature is Ishvara only. Ishvara alone, his nature, is Prakriti. As I said, that Prakriti and Ishvara are not too different. So Ishvara alone is expressing in the water as taste. Ishvara alone is expressing in the space, in Akash, as sound. Ishvara alone is expressing in fire as that light. Ishvara is alone expressing through this earth as fragrance. So Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha is the very nature of nature, and that nature is Ishvara. That because of which a thing is what it is Ishvara. It is expressing in different names and different forms, but the essence of it is Ishvara. See, we have seen before, Ishvara is Satyam Jnanam Anantam, is pure existence, pure consciousness, pure bliss. But this nature is also not different from Ishvara. So Ishvara expresses through his nature as this world. So he is expressing as the Pancha Mahabhut. Ishvara is alone expressing as our mind, as our intellect, as our senses. Ishvara alone is expressing as our karmendriyas, jnanendriyas. Ishvara alone is expressing as the pranas. But go to the very essence of it, and that is the presence of Ishvara. Shankaracharya ji writes in his commentary, Ki rasaha, here it is said rasaha. Bhagavan says, Raso aham, I am the rasa. Rasaha aham apam yah saraha. The very sar, the very essence of water, that is called rasa. And tasmin rasa bhute mai apah prota. And in that rasa is like the thread in which is strung the water. The water which we see through our senses, the form and the name, that form and name is like a flower, and the rasa is like the thread. Paramatma is the rasa, in whom is strung the waters. So when we taste the water, we should understand that we are tasting Ishvara alone. We are experiencing Ishvara. ईश्वर का ही हमें अनुभव हो रहा है, because Ishvara is the rasa. See, in Bhagavad, there are stories of gopis who were considered as Bhagwan's greatest devotees. Even in Narad Bhakti Sutra, Naradji gives the example of gopis as Bhagwan's great devotees. What is so great about these gopis? What is the meaning of the name Gopi? Go, the Indriyas are called go. Not the English go, huh? Go, gochar jahan lage man jai, so sab maya jane hu bhai. Go, Indriyas. Therefore, Bhagwan is called Govinda, the Lord of the Indriyas. Go. Or pee and pina, drinking. Huh? So, Gopi means what? जो इंद्रियों से पीती है. इंद्रियों से पीती है. क्या पीती है इंद्रियों से? इंद्रियों से भगवान को पीती है. Means those who see and taste and drink the beauty of Bhagwan through their senses. For gopis, Bhagwan is not far away, not hidden somewhere. They can see him through their eyes, they can hear him through their ears, they can taste him with their tongue, they can smell him with their nose. For gopis, Bhagwan is supremely present. Bhagwan Krishna had a wonderful friend, Uddhav. Uddhav was very highly intelligent. And Bhagwan taught him the Shastras, told him about the Nirgun Nirakar Brahma, and also the Sagun. And also told him about the greatness of the gopis. So Uddhava did not have great opinion about these gopis. He thought that they are just very extrovert, interested in Krishna, but not knowing his real supreme essence. So he thought, I will go to Vrindavan and teach them. So he went to Vrindavan. He met the gopis and told them that you are attached to Krishna physically, outwardly you are looking at him without knowing his real beauty, his sublime glory, which is transcendental. He told them that you just close your eyes and dive deep within. Let your mind go into that Nirgun Nirakar Brahma. The gopis looked at him and said, what you are saying is true and very nice, but we can't do it. He said, what happened? Why you can't do it? They said that we have only one mind, and that mind has become one with Krishna. Mananahi dasabis udho एक हतो सो गयो श्याम संग को आराधे ईस. We don't have 10-20 minds. We have only one mind, and that has become one with Krishna, that has become Krishnamay. So with which mind should we worship that Nirgun Nirakar? Then Uddhav realized that I can understand Krishna's glory with my eyes closed, but these gopis can understand his glories with his eyes open also, with their eyes open. We should be able to see the glories of Bhagwan with our eyes open. Then only our vision of Ishvara will be complete. Just by saying he is Nirgun Nirakar is not complete. No doubt he is Nirgun Nirakar. But Bhagwan is also Sagun Sakar. Bhagwan not only transcends everything, but is present in everything. Hari Vyapak Sarvatra Samana Premate Pragat Hoi Mai Jana. To know that Hari Vyapak Sarvatra Saman is knowledge. But to be able to experience this knowledge, we should have that love for Ishvara. प्रेमते प्रगट होई, प्यार से भगवान प्रगट हो जाते हैं, नहीं तो छिपे रहते हैं. It is like the child knows that mother is behind the curtain, that is knowledge. But to look behind the curtain and see that mother and embrace that mother, that happens through that love, that devotion. That is the real thing. That is the... So Bhagwan is that Rasaroop, Raso Vaisaha. So भगवान को देखने की कला जो है हमको प्राप्त करनी है. Bhagwan is already there. We don't have to go somewhere else to look for him. But we should open our eyes to see him wherever we are. Doesn't matter where we are. He is everywhere. What is required is the vision to see him. Yesterday I sang that song, Moko kahan dhunde re bande, main to tere paas mein, I am there. And once we recognize God, where we are, we will be able to see him everywhere. So Bhagwan says कि पानी से शुरुआत करो, पानी में मुझे देखो. रसोहम अप्सु कौन्तेय, when you drink water, you can't live without water. So when you drink that water, the taste which you are experiencing, the very essence of water, why water is water? Water is our tongue, the organ of taste. The ability to taste has come from water only. This Pancha Mahabhut, from this Pancha Mahabhut only our Pancha Jnanendriyas are born. The Pancha Jnanendriyas are the expression of the Pancha Mahabhut. So the tongue and water are connected. Our tongue means the ability to taste, not the physical tongue, but the ability to taste is born from water. So our tongue is also Rasarupa, and water is also Rasarupa. And even Bhagwan's name is full of rasa. So which we chant with our tongue, we should chant Bhagwan's name and taste the sweetness of that name through our tongue. That is a different sadhana, but that is very beautiful. So Bhagavan says, Raso ham apsu Kaunteya, hey Kaunteya, oh my dear Kunti ka putra, Kunti ka beta, sun lo meri baat. I am there in water. But not with your eyes, you won't be able to experience me. In the water, you can experience me with your tongue. In fire, you can experience me with eyes. In the space, you can experience me with your ears. In the Vayu, you can experience me with your skin. We can experience Bhagavan through our senses. We don't have to control and take away, beat our senses or torture them. We can experience God through our senses. But see that God. Recognize that God. If we don't recognize, then we are only indulging in the outer names and forms. But if we recognize, then we are experiencing that God. See, Sita ji and Shri Ram. Ramchandra ji is that Ishvara, and Sita ji is his Shakti. What we call Prakriti or Maya is Sita, and Sita and Ram are not different. Gira arath jalavichi sama kahiyat bhinna na bhinna bandhu Sita Ram pada jinahi parama priya khinna. So just as the word and the meanings of the word is not different, just as water and the wave, they are not different, similarly Sri Ram and Sita ji are not different, they are one. So the Sita ji alone is expressing as this world, but behind this world is Ram. रामचंद्र जी छिपे हुए हैं, सीता जी प्रकट है. बट सीता जी को रामचंद्र जी को अलग नहीं करना चाहिए. If we try to separate Sita ji from Ram, then we will become like Ravan. But if we try to follow Sita ji who is along with Ram, then we will be like Lakshmana. Lakshmana was following Sita ji and Sita ji is following Ram. Aage chale bahuri raghuraya. Ramchandra ji is in the forest when they were walking. Ramchandra ji was walking ahead. उनके पीछे पीछे सीता जी, उनके पीछे पीछे लक्ष्मण. So one may say, oh, Lakshmana is going behind Sita ji, but Sita, which Sita ji? The Sita ji who is behind Ramchandra ji. Lakshmana is holding both Sita ji and Ramchandra ji in his heart. He is not separating them. उनको अलग करना रावण की प्रवृत्ति है. जगत को भगवान से अलग करना ये रावण की प्रवृत्ति है. जगत में भगवान को देखना ये लक्ष्मण जी की प्रवृत्ति. लक्ष्मण को ही भगवान की प्राप्ति होती है. जिसका मन बिल्कुल स्वच्छ हो गया है, पवित्र हो गया है, वो लक्ष्मण है. उसे ही भगवान राम और सीता जी की प्राप्ति होती है. बिकॉज ही डजंट सेपरेट राम एंड सीता. रावण सेपरेट्स देम. सो डोंट सेपरेट देम. डोंट throw them away also. Don't say Jagat is Mithya and throw it away. Then you are separating both Ram and Sita ji from your life. But if you just look at the world and see only the world and not Bhagwan behind the world, then you are separating Sita ji from then you become Ravan. जगत में भगवान को देखो. So here Bhagwan revealed his the vision by which we should see him. भगवान says पानी में मैं हूँ और रस के रूप में. मुझे पानी में देखो एज रसो हम अप्स कौन्तेय. मोर प्रभास में शशि सूर्य और चंद्रमा में भी मुझे देखो, वेदों में मुझे देखो, आकाश में देखो, सभी मनुष्यों में देखो. हाँ, मोर अबाउट दिस वी विल सी in our class tomorrow. It's very beautiful. So please develop this vision of seeing the presence of Ishvara in this world. Don't get carried away by the names and forms, because they are only superficial. See, when we look at the gold ornament, suppose you have that beautiful necklace is there, but वो ठीक तरह से बना नहीं है necklace, golden necklace. थोड़ा सा उसकी कारीगरी ठीक नहीं है. ठीक नहीं है नहीं, it is not suiting your likes. So when you don't like that necklace, gold necklace, what do? Throw it out of the window? No. You don't throw the gold necklace, because even though you may not like its design, but you know gold is there. You will not throw it. If you understand the value of that necklace, that it is gold, you will not throw it. Similarly, however ugly and dirty and disturbing the world may look, it is only the outer form which is corrupted due to the human adharma only. But if you dive deep, you will see the presence of Ishvara in everything. सब में ईश्वर है. विद्या विनय संपन्ने ब्राह्मणे गविहस्तिनि शुनि चैव श्वपाके च पंडिता समदर्शिनः. अब ब्राह्मण में, हाथी में, घोड़े में, गाय में, पशु में, पक्षी में, in a dog, in a dog eater, everywhere Ishvara is present. So wise person, enlightened person, a bhakta, he sees Ishvara everywhere. Okay? So you contemplate on this, meditate on this, and try to see Ishvara everywhere. Okay? Hari Om. We will meet again tomorrow. So till then, take care. Be safe, happy, peaceful, healthy. And we will meet again tomorrow. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram. जय जय राम. बोले सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय. ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम.